Hi, I'm Dan. Welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. We are on the fourth day of my week-long look at all these Transformers Studio Series 86 Constructicons, and today we're going to take a look at Bonecrusher.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So like I said, we've made it to the fourth day. Here's Bonecrusher, and I feel like I'm saving the lamest Constructicons for last. Not in the fact that I think the characters are lame, or even that the figures are lame. I feel like with the two deluxe Constructicons we got this year for the Studio Series 86 Devastator, these guys really don't do a lot. He's kind of like an upscaled core class figure. I feel the same way about Scavenger, which we'll see in the next review. But with this one, you can see he's a bulldozer. There's a lot of green. The treads are green. There's a little bit of purple on him. He has the Decepticon insignia in front of the bulldozer, and maybe that's where I thought it came from when I was talking about Scrapper. A little bit of purple here. Yeah, his gun is there, but like a little bit of black for what will eventually be the head. But like mostly just green on this guy. A little bit of silver and gray. On the underside, a little bit of some more colors here on the underside of the, his bucket. I don't know what the part of this is called. But, yeah, like, and especially with his articulation, I feel like some of this is not well, like not great. He doesn't even have wheels on the bottom. Like, I understand not having moving, working treads, but you couldn't put little wheels here to help him roll along. Like, if I want to push this guy along, let me get my spinner out of the way. Like, I'm literally just scraping him on the ground or wherever he happens to be, which, in my opinion, could mess up paint. Now, these are probably cast in green, so there's probably not a whole lot of damage you can do, although you can still mess up the what's underneath. So, like, yeah, it looks like his G1 Constructicon self. I just feel like there's a little more that could have been added here. Like, the most we have is this moving piece. Like, oh, cool. And, like, it can extend forward if you want because of transformation. But, like, who's going around bulldozing like this? That just looks strange. So I do definitely have my problems with this one. I don't think he's the most exciting in vehicle mode. But we're going to transform him up because that might give us a little bit of a better idea of what he looks like. So in order to transform him, first I'm just going to take off the gun so it doesn't go anywhere. Put it on the side here. I tend to move this out of the way. And then I'm going to get the legs moved. Well, I tend to do the legs first with all the Constructicons, but these also kind of flip to a spot like this. This will eventually become his chest. We'll get there. I do want to open up his toes like that. And like this is very similar to the Combiner Wars one, where you just open up the ends of the treads that makes those toes. He has, his knees there. They do lock into place like with Long Haul, where I worry about mold degeneration, whatever, over time. But right now, like, I'm not going to have him standing straight-legged anyway. He'll probably be kind of more like the crooked leg. All right, moving along. I'm going to get this out of the way. We are going to work on the arms, which helps if you do this. And then you can bring the arms out like this. You probably see where I'm going with this. Going to take care of the head, flip it up, and down. This part goes like that. There we go. This piece you can kind of, it was up. You can just kind of put it back here. Slide this piece down over his head like this. And then you are going to take this piece and connect it there. And just to show you again, there is a little tab here. It goes into this slot. Just like that. And like, there's no cover for where his head goes. It's really just the front of the bulldozer. You're going to flip the arms all the way up. And then turn his wrists around to have... Whoop, there you go. To have his hands out. And his hands are just little stubs in here. So here is our Bonecrusher, Studio Series 86 Bonecrusher in his robot mode. And he looks a little stumpy. Bringing him in to look at his details. It's a big old green robot. His hands are done up in... Is this black or purple? It is purple. Sorry, I had to double check under the light. And it's very glossy, so it might be a little hard to see on camera, but it is purple. In really the front of him, you have this on the side, but like dead on is just the details from the underside of the bulldozer and the head. Like I've been saying, I think they could have done well with some light piping in here. I think that would have made his red eyes pop, but the head looks as good as you'd imagine. I mean, this is Bonecrusher's head. I do like this piece, how like you could almost serve it as like a face mask and then pop it back when he needs to see. Or, you know, a sunshade. He's got his own hat. Anyway, but yeah, just even in his back, that's really the only color aside from this piece, which will help form Devastator's arm. He's not the most exciting robot. This was actually the first Constructicon I got, I want to say, out of the Studio Series 86 line. And he's a little boring. He looks a little frumpy. He looks a little squat. Like, he's just here. And this feels like a core class toy they upsized. And I can understand the argument of like, oh, well, you know, he has to become part of a combiner, so they had to simplify him. But with this guy, you're literally putting him back in his vehicle mode and then just extending this. So you're going to tell me that this one extra piece here took away from like hands, actual elbows? Like, I don't love the fact that this one feels kind of cheap. He almost feels like a knockoff. And I hate to say that like that. You know, I'm normally pretty positive on here, but like, I don't love this Bonecrusher. I feel bad saying that, and I'm going to try to go through the rest of this review as objectively as possible, but like, he's definitely kind of boring. So let's look at his articulation. First, like I mentioned, we have his head. It is on this slider, or this flip joint here, so it will move up and down because of that joint, and then it will move left and right. It's not on a ball joint. At the arms, they will go all the way around because ball and socket right there, and ball and socket at the elbow. So you do have the ability to bend the elbow and then kind of spin it all around. Like ball and sockets on a deluxe figure, like, what are we, back in Beast Wars? So that's not a shot at Beast Wars. Full disclosure, not trying to offend. But anyway, at the legs, they're going to go forward. They're going to go back. They can go way, way back. Just so you see how far back they do go. And actually, they can go way forward as well because of the fact that it's a ball to socket right here. Going down to the thigh, they do have swivel at the thigh. They do have a knee, which bends a little more than 90 degrees. And like I said, they really do lock into place. So that locking is nice. The feet will have ankle tilt, ankle pivot. But then nothing really else in terms of articulation, unless you count the fact that the toes fold in, because that could give you like some type of running pose. Don't fall down. So like there is that bit. Maybe it's incidental articulation, but like I said, he kind of feels like a core class figure who got upsized to a deluxe price point, and not in the way they've been doing like the mini bots in a larger scale. Just like he feels like a kind of a cheap toy, and I'll stop saying it, I promise. Here's his weapon. It's a gun. It goes pew pew and bang bang, and I don't mean to steal anybody else's line, but here's his weapon, and you can see it looks like his blaster. So it fits in his hand, and there we go. He can fire with it. So huzzah! I don't have a tremendous amount to say about this one, just because I don't feel like he's all that interesting. And as you can see on mine, this arm keeps flopping down. So I don't know if that's a QC issue in mine or if this is widespread, but this doesn't seem to lock in place anywhere. It's just kind of there. Before I didn't say anything about waist articulation because there is none. So it's kind of like a brick. Let's start with some comparisons. I think it's only fair that we start with Earthrise Prime, mostly because I have him right here on hand. And I should probably raise my camera for you. There you go. Earthrise Prime, standing next to him. He's shorter than Earthrise Prime. He's also significantly shorter than Studio Series 86 Megatron. He is not as short as his G1 toy, who honestly has more detail going on. Now, you might argue, well, there's some sticker detail, Dan. Yeah, but like, look, he has purple on his underside there. His arms have silver. There's a little more purple here. Like, granted, his face is a blob, but like, I feel like this one has more going on than the old one. Yeah, that's just me though. And just to bring in a nice group shot of the 5 Constructicons I've looked at before, here is Scrapper. Now, I will say, Bonecrusher compared to Scrapper, they are very similar sizes. Like, they are looking at each other. He's a Voyager, he's a Deluxe. And I'm going to stop arguing about or yelling about the stuff I've been yelling about so far. Let's bring in Long Haul so you can see how he looks with him. And, of course, we need Mixmaster. Bringing in old Mixie over here. And, like, again, similar height. Mixmaster's got, like, the hat going as extra. Definitely, Long Haul's definitely a little bigger. And Hook, who is a little taller. Like, building them as a team, granted, his legs are split too. If you keep them here as a team, like, they definitely all look like they fit with each other. They all look like Constructicons. But, yeah, there we go. There's our almost complete family here. One more to go. And let's share some final thoughts. So if you've been watching the show long enough, you know that I really hate to focus on the negatives. Even when I do a which is better figure comparison, if something is better than the other one, I still don't like to focus on how bad something might be. I still try to put a positive spin on it. Honestly, this is really just a means to an end. This is a figure who I'm going to put as the upper arm for Devastator on my display, and he's going to stay like that forever. So I really shouldn't be as upset as maybe I'm coming across right now. But if you were buying maybe 2 of the Studio Series Constructicons, or buying a set to keep in robot mode, this is kind of a weak one. And even standing by itself, I feel like it's a little bit of like an embarrassment. I feel like he could benefit from new arms, maybe even new legs, and definitely some more paint, deco hits. I'm sure there's going to be some type of third-party upgrade for this guy that maybe might give him new arms, new hands. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets like really a big makeover while still being able to transform into part of Devastator. But I think what you have to ask yourself is, do you want to have some type of upgrade kit for this character if he is just going to stay as an arm for Devastator? For me, no, I don't need to upgrade him, because after this review and I put him into arm mode, I'm never going to look at him in robot mode again until, 10 years from now when we get a new Devastator and I swap everybody out. And who knows, maybe that one will have worse arms. Maybe they won't even move. Maybe he won't have arms. I don't know. Anyway, I do want to thank you for checking out this video. A like and a comment and a subscribe is always nice to get. But I would also like it if you checked out the Rock Nerd Radio Show podcast. You can find it on your preferred podcast platform. It's a weekly show hosted by myself and my good friend Vinny. The two of us talk about all kinds of pop culture stuff, not just action figures, but movies, TV shows, comic books, and everything in between. So until next time, hey, we have one Constructicon left. I've been Dan. You all been pretty awesome. I'll see you next time.